and welcome into the ride, a journey to the tourney, where we bring you through the 2025-26 college basketball season. My name's Andrew Hurley, back here with Brett Bianchetti. Brett, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How have you been?
Doing good. Excited, man.
Yeah,
Less than a week. Less than a week. This is going
almost
to be
there.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Today we got a really quick episode coming out. We're going to bring you through some of our position rankings and then our top freshmen. Just going to talk about it. But real quick, over this past week, there's been a ton of exhibition games. Not all of them are great. You'll see a lot of them are just these top teams playing some lower tier teams, some mid majors, some D2s, some D3s even I've seen. So
Mm-hmm.
but a couple of the good ones. So Kentucky, preseason number nine, Kentucky beat preseason number one Purdue. I mean, we were both excited to watch this game. A lot of hype going into this for a preseason game. Kentucky beat Purdue by 13. It was 78 to 65. Jasper Johnson looked awesome. What'd you take away from this game?
It was really nice to see Kentucky do well, and also like they didn't really have to like rely on Owe. I didn't notice him being like in particularly good, but like Jasper Johnson looked awesome. Moreno had some nice plays. I like the bigs. They looked like better than I thought they would be without Quaintance as well, so pretty hopeful.
Yeah, and with Quaintance coming through, it's only going to look better for them. Purdue didn't necessarily look bad. Braden Smith wasn't exactly what was expected. Once again, these are preseason games. Do not take too much out of this, is what I'm going to say. But exciting. We just want basketball. Another game that I thought was good, or that I thought would be good, would be Arkansas versus Cincinnati. And then Arkansas also played Memphis last night. Malik Thomas killed last night. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he was looking really good. Uh, Arkansas won both these games pretty healthily. The one against Cincinnati, they won 89 to 61. And then the one against Memphis, they won 99 to 75. So Arkansas's looked good. The freshmen have looked good. Darius Acuff looked good against Cincinnati. Cincinnati didn't have a ton going for them, but that'll be all right. And then Kansas and Louisville, man, Darren Peterson is legit. Ryan Conwell is exactly what he was last year. I mean, I am very high on Louisville, but I mean Kansas and Darren Peterson were definitely giving them the work. Excited for Darren Peterson this year. We're going to talk about him a little bit more later, so we'll hold off on that. And then another one, Virginia beat Villanova 75 to 72. Both these teams look good. Caden Lewis for Villanova was somebody I actually was really impressed with. He's going to be important for them. Malik Thomas looked good for Virginia. And then one more, the BYU Cougars beat UNC. AJ DeBonsa and Caleb Wilson, excuse me, both had good games. Those top freshmen expected to lead their teams. So, good stuff going on in this preseason slate. Any of those games stood out to you, or is there anything else you want to talk about before we get into this?
I did notice I like the new bigs for Virginia. They looked pretty nice. I think it was the Ritter and Grunlow. I think they played two exhibition games. Both games they looked pretty good. So that was one of my worries for that team, but they pretty reassuring.
And sorry if we're mumbling or talking quiet. Both of us stayed up through that absolute thriller last night. Dodgers versus Blue Jays, 18 innings. So, man, what a game.
Yeah.
But moving on to the main content of the episode, like I said, we're gonna do some position rankings. So we have our top five at each position, point guard through center, and then we're gonna leave out of here with freshman and a hot take. Getting into it, I think we're good. Just read off your top five. You can go in order, reverse order, and then I'm gonna go with mine. So we're not gonna go like, did you have them here? Just because these positions are so probably different. There's gonna be some contention on what position these guys play, I'm
Mhm.
sure. But so just go for your five through one. Just you can read them off, talk about them as you go. Just go for it.
Okay. Should we start at point?
Yeah.
Good for you. Okay. So, my fifth best point guard was Marcus Burton for Notre Dame. Averaged 21 last year. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's kind of like a one of those mid-major guys, almost like one of the small guards who just does a ton inside the arc. But he's also a good shooter, and he's just like amazing scorer in general. He's a little small, but I mean, I like the roster a bit more this year. I think I'll have a pretty big year. Um, at four, I had Bennett Sturts. for Iowa. He arguably could have been higher than 3, but um, I mean, he'll probably drop. He can drop 20 on almost any team. He did that last year, even with Drake, and that was with a slow-paced team too. So we'll see what happens this year. Um, then what else? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard. I struggled a bit with like is differentiating. I don't know. I was trying to mix like success with how good they're gonna be as well, because like uh some of these guys will average like really big numbers, but their team might not be that great, so it doesn't really do much. At 3 I had Milos Uzan from Houston. He's a guy I'm pretty high on. I think he's really set to be a good player. He's preseason third team All American, I think, which is definitely like a really big prediction, like a projection compared to what he was last year. But I think he's really set up for it. He's efficient. He had one of the better assist turnover ratios I'd seen. His numbers were pretty low and like on a low volume and like a lower pressure role, but like I don't know. I mean, they were pretty good for what he was able to do. He shot well. He's pretty underrated, I guess, playmaker. I'm not sure how much of that will be like his game this year, but I think he's set up for a nice year. And then number 2, I had Donovan Dent from UCLA, a guy we both like. He averaged 20 last year. Um, he averaged a block too, actually. That was interesting. He's a little high on the turnovers, but not too terrible. And he had average 6 assists still, so not that bad. Um, and I mean, it'll be interesting, I think, to see him with UCLA because it's gonna be a lot different pace than what New Mexico was last year. I'm not totally sure how that'll affect him, but I feel like it'll be better for him. I think the
I,
turnovers are probably gonna drop a bit.
I'm a big believer in you got to change your system to who your best
Really?
players are. So I'm hoping Mick Cronin like sees Donovan Dent, sees he's like this absolute specialist in transition, and he can kind of not completely foster his entire scheme to that. I mean, obviously New Mexico was run and gun all of last year, but I think UCLA will definitely up the pace for Donovan Dent, or at least I hope they do.
I feel like Cronin's gonna stick to his guns and play a really slow team. But
Yeah.
I think that'll be an okay thing for Donovan. I think that would because he shot
Yeah.
well from 3 too. He just didn't take a lot of threes, and then like the turnovers, a lot of that's gonna come from playing at a really high pace. So I think it
Mhm.
won't be a bad thing, but it'll definitely be different for him than New Mexico.
Yeah.
And then my number 1, probably not very surprisingly, Braden Smith. Um, I would say that like talent wise, you could argue for Dent for sure, but like the stats are gonna be ridiculous again this year. Um, I will say like I mean we can't always hear the good things about him, but one thing I noticed I guess that wasn't huge on. I think he needs to improve on his consistency quite a bit, and some of that might be just from like the role he plays. So it might not be something he can really help, but like in March, when they lost to Houston, he went 2 for 7 from the field. And in the Big Ten tourney, he went 5 for 18 against Michigan. So it's like part of that might be because he's not really a guy who gets to rim a lot. So it's kind of like a more volatile scorer than like a Donovan Dent. But I'd like to see him improve there. And like I don't even mind the turnovers that much considering how good of a playmaker he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think his passing makes up and then some
Yeah,
for I don't think he has a turnover problem.
yeah.
But that this is interesting. I mean, we already have some
Mm,
position discourse coming up here, but my 5 through 3 is 100% different than yours. So
okay,
not a single other player.
that's great.
At my 5 and a guy that we've talked about before, I'm definitely higher than him. My 5 and 4, I'm a lot higher on these guys than you are. But to my at my 5, I had Todd Pettiford,
Mm,
Auburn guy. I love the scoring upside. I mean, I love the upside that he showed last year. I mean, the role, the Auburn offense, I believe is going to be all his. I do like Keyshawn Hall a lot, but man, I think Tahad Pettiford is going to be that guy. Um, as we move on, this is a very biased ranking for me. All of my
Mhm.
rankings, I'm not hiding my bias whatsoever on these players. So, Bennett Sturts didn't make my top five. He was the next guy up. I was pretty
Okay.
Bennett Sturts versus Todd Pettiford. I mean, we'll see. Bennett starts obviously good score coming from Drake. But to my four, I had LeBron Filon from Alabama. Another guy like similarly, I'm higher on him than you are, but I think similarly to Todd Pettiford, his backcourt usage, him and Aiden Holloway are a great scoring backcourt. I like what he's going to do with the ball in his hands. He's not the best defender yet. I not necessarily taking that away from him. He's not a bad defender by any means. I think he's better than his running mate Aiden Holloway at that. But I like what LeBron Filon will do this year. And then at my three, I assume you didn't have him as a point guard. I had Darren Peterson.
Yeah, I had him at the two, but you could definitely
Okay,
say it.
yeah. I think he's going to be running a lot of lead guard this year. Point guard. I definitely can understand what you might have him at the two, but obviously he's been showing out this preseason. One of the top freshmen. You could argue he's the best freshman in the country. I mean, it's the big three where people will always argue preseason until we see it. But yeah, Darren Peterson, my three. At my two is where I have Braden Smith. We've talked about this earlier. I'm a bigger fan of Donovan Dent, who is going to be at my one, but Braden Smith, he's the thing that scares me is, I mean, you talked a little bit about the offensive inconsistency, 5 for 18 against Michigan. He takes a lot of like fadeaway mid ranges, which
Hmm.
I don't think is necessarily bad, but I mean, simply it is a tough shot. Like that's just a tough
Hmm.
shot for him to make it at a high clip. He's gonna have the best defenders on him all the time. All these guys are, but his passing is awesome. He's the best passer in the country. There's absolutely no argument about that. The scoring is what I'm not sure is going to be there for me. I mean, I've talked about earlier a lot of mouths to feed on this team. I like TKR scoring a ton, and a lot of that comes from Braden Smith. But uh, I think this is more about how much I love Donovan Dent, who's on my one. I think he's going to replicate what he did at New Mexico perfectly into UCLA. I really like how he shoots the ball. I love what he does in transition. He's a good defender too. I mean, I really like Donovan Dent, man, and I think that he's going to be the best point guard in the country. Some of the guys that we didn't talk about, and then another. I'm gonna leave off one guy, see if you have him on your other list, but it's not clear what position he's going to play. But so some of the other guys, Michael Brown Jr., another guy I really like, great shooter, freshman. Jacoby Gillespie at Tennessee, top freshman point guard, and then Jackson Shelstad. Those are all point guards that I also really like this year. So, did you have any other honorable mention types?
Yeah, Shellstad was one of my honorable mentions as well.
Yeah, good to go on to the shooting guards.
Yeah. Okay. So this guy, five, I kind of doubt you have him on here, honestly, but I'm pretty high on him, is Jason Edwards going to Providence. Okay.
No, don't
So,
have him.
yeah, I mean, he could end up like one of the highest scorers in the country, in my opinion, just like at the role he's gonna have. He averaged 17 in the SEC. So, I mean, how he went to Big East, I don't know, but he's gonna score a ton. And I think he averaged 19 at North Texas in his freshman year. So, I mean, 20 is like minimum, honestly, for me, seeing him there. He doesn't really do a whole lot else other than scoring. He's pretty small. He's not a passer really, but I mean, he's gonna be a really high volume scorer, so it's a fun one. Um, four, I have John Blackwell from Wisconsin. Um, I mean, it's kind of like I guess, kind of a projection, but I mean, I think he'll take another jump this year. He's a pretty streaky shooter, but I mean, I think there's pretty good upside for him to be a better shooter. Honestly, I think that's somewhere I think he'll improve a lot this year. And I mean, like he's averaged 9 or 16 with Tanje. He'll have a lot more opportunities scoring wise. Yeah, I think he'll be better this year. Number three, I have PJ Haggerty. I guess you could kind of also say he's a point, but I don't know.
Yeah, he was the guy that I was talking about earlier that I'm not,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
it's not clear what position he's going to play. He was in my honorable mention for the point guard list.
Yeah, I was almost put him at point, but honestly, there was enough point guards, so it was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'd rather have him on the list than leave him off. So,
Yep.
um, I mean, he's really shifty, he's quick, he's chaotic, but I mean, he scores so much. Um, decent shooter, but I mean, he's 22 on mostly just getting to the rim. He's great body control. He can hit some like ridiculous shots. He's a fun player, and I'm sure he'll average a bunch. He'll put up a lot of points at Kansas State. Then number two, I had Otega Owe for Kentucky. I'm a pretty big Kentucky believer, so I think this like fits. I mean, he's like pretty much purely get to the bucket guy. He's not a shooter really, but he's not a terrible shooter either. He's so like his build's kind of crazy. He's explosive, but he's also 220. He's really strong
So
finisher.
strong. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's good at getting the free throw line too, cause like that's his game. So I mean, if he could shoot better, that'd be nice. But I really don't think it's like bad at all that he doesn't shoot well. So he's pretty damn good. Um, and number one, I have the guy you brought up earlier, Darren Peterson. Um, he's gonna be awesome. He said he dropped 23 in the first half, I think, in the exhibition game.
Hmm.
Um, he's crazy. I think he's one of the easiest players to project that could have like 20 point per game guy. I think that's like a pretty fair expectation. He's gonna have one of the greenest lights in the country, and he's so talented as a scorer. I mean, like he's gonna have the ball almost every possession. That's what it felt like in the exhibition game, and he
Hmm.
can really shoot from anywhere. So he's very talented.
Yeah, our once again our shooting guard lists look completely different. But to my five is where I had Ryan Conwell, another Louisville guy. He's a great shooter. I love Ryan Conwell this year, man. I think he's gonna have another 40% plus year from behind the arc and be probably the focal point of the Louisville offense. Not sure what I mean, they have a ton of shooters in there, but I think
Hmm.
Ryan Conwell is going to be the top one. And then number four, a guy that we haven't talked about hardly at all, and I think deserves a lot more. Not, I mean, kind of a just a good overall shooting guard and is going to be the leader for his team is Josh Hubbard of Mississippi State. I really like him. He scored 19 a year last year, 35% from three, which is all right. But I mean, he's going to be a high volume guy once again. Mississippi State isn't the best program recently, and the reason for me having him on here, I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier. You have like guys like Darren Peterson and PJ Haggerty, who if I would have had him at the shooting guards, they would have pushed these guys down. But with Josh Hubbard, I think he's going to be a really good scorer. And then in my three, I have Richie Saunders. BYU. Um, Not sure if you have him at the small forward
Yeah,
position.
yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Like I said, position stuff is going to be
Hmm.
a big thing for this. I think he is going to be running the two though. Good shooter. One of the more important things for BYU is Richie Saunders giving them spacing. AJ DeBonza is somewhat unproven of a three-point shooter. Rob Wright, I think, but Richie Saunders, I think, is going to be very important for their spacing. And then number two, I had Solo Ball in UConn. I think he's going to be a very, very high volume shooter this year, which I'm excited for. Higher than last year, even where he was arguably the best shooter in college basketball. So I like Solo Ball a lot to lead the UConn team. And then number one, I had Otega Owe. You talked about him earlier. He's super strong. I love watching Otega Owe play.
Hmm.
And even though I'm not as high on Kentucky as some others, him getting to the rack is going to be so much fun to watch. Every single possession, he's a threat. So, and some of my honorable mentions, I just have a couple, like Emmanuel Sharp, I really like, just a spot up guy, a good piece. And then Boogie Fland, I think, is going to have a good year. I like Boogie Fland. I like his transfer to Florida. So excited for those two. Do you have any honorable
Yeah.
mentions?
Um, Solo Ball was a guy I thought about. I
Hmm.
mean, like based off last year, you could definitely say he's gonna be really good. I also just assume, or at least I think the best way like UConn would go would be like more scoring back committee with bringing Damari and they have Caravan and Mullins when he gets back, Tarish Reed.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of options to score, so I'm not sure if he'll be like putting up crazy numbers, but he'll definitely be one of the best shooters in the country.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm not a big Josh Hubbard fan at all. He's one of my hate watches last year, honestly. I did
Ooh.
not like Mississippi
All
State
right.
at all.
That's fair.
Yeah. Um,
And then think we're good to go to small
Small
forwards. I mean, small
forwards.
forwards is probably the worst group of positions here, at least from my rankings.
Yeah, I noted they were my worst position as well.
Yeah,
Um,
get
so
after it.
at five, I did have Mark Mitchell. Um, One of my hot takes was he's gonna be one of the top SEC guys, so felt right to put him here. It's kind of like a projection thing. He's third in the SEC in free throw attempts as a wing. I'm hoping just like the higher volume on offense after losing to Mar Bates and Caleb Grill kind of bumps him up statistically. Um, he's a long, athletic finisher, and I think he has plenty of room to grow still going into
Mhm.
his senior year. So, um, kind of
Crazy to me, he's
bit,
gone from a center to a small forward, but it's good for him.
yeah, I know he's like he's still like a project at 22, but
Hmm.
it's
Right.
I'm still like hopeful he does pretty well. At four, I have Nate Ament, Tennessee. He's one of the freshmen I really liked watching, but he's also probably the shakiest that made any of my lists because it's like, I mean, when you're comparing the top three freshmen on that, he's good, but those three are obviously like the higher above him. I think he'll have a bunch of opportunities, but I mean, he was just a fun player. He's like one of those modern big wings, good ball handler. He's a little slim, but I mean, with Jalen Carey and Akpara, I don't think that's gonna be a worry. So be fun to see how they use him offensively. Um, Three, I have Richie Saunders. You had him at two, so I have him at third here for small forwards. I think his numbers might drop a bit because of Rob Wright and Devonsa, but I still think he's gonna be a super impactful guy. I just liked how he was like a really good scorer. He's like a great shooter, but he also doesn't rely on it at all. He'll have big games without needing to shoot a lot or anything like that, and he'll have games where he's just like a knockdown shooter. So I think he'll be like an awesome piece next to the Bonsa if that's how they run the team with the Bonsa being the first option. But um, yeah, I think he's just like perfect secondary scorer. Um, who not sure if this guy made any of your list, but I had Tucker DeVries at Indiana. Um, I mean, he last year he kind of fell into like more of a shooting role at West Virginia. His 3-point rate went from 65 to 45%. Just because West Virginia could not shoot last year, so he really had to carry the load. But I mean, he still shot 47% on seven threes a game, so he was really good at that. He's one of the better wing defenders you'll find. I mean, he's like very versatile guy, definitely a plus defender, and I think with I think he'll still be a really good. I think he'd be a good first option if that's how they choose to use him. I think he's a lot more than a shooter offensively. I think he's a good passer too when he has the ball more. I think a lot of his stats were down just because of the role he played at West Virginia. Then three, I had Darian Williams, or number one.
But
Sorry, I
you're
had, yeah, Darian Williams. It's a guy you love. I really like watching him too. I mean, when I was looking at the stats, I was kind of surprised they were low as they were. I think he's a lot better than 15, 5.5, 3.5, steal and a half. And the splits were lower than I'd expect, but I think he's like one of the best. I think he's almost like built perfectly to be a first option, like a heavy load carrier as a wing for NC State. So I mean, he's gonna be really good. He'll have a big role there.
Yeah, I agree. At my five, I had Nate Immense, so dropped him down one spot from you. I'm not taking anything out of it. I mean, he hasn't had the best preseason, but I'm not taking anything out of that. I do believe Nate Immense will be a good wing. I mean, obviously he's a preseason guy in the SEC,
Hmm.
all team. So I think Nate Ahmed's still going to have a great year. At my four, I mean, similarly to Josh Hubbard, a guy who we haven't talked about enough, Nick Martinelli out of Northwestern, 20 point per game guy last year. Northwestern doesn't have a ton going for them besides Nick Martinelli. So I mean, going to be a lot of usage for him. I actually really like his game. And then at three, I do have Tucker DeVries. I just talked about like he's one of my favorite 3 and D wings. Just gets up and down the floor really well. I like Indiana a lot this year, honestly. The roster looks different from what we've seen in years past, but I really like what Tucker DeVries is going to be there. And then I might two is where I had Darian Williams. NC State, I mean, I'm as high on him as they get. This is number one. I talking about a little bit of positional things. I think you're gonna have him at power forward, but I might too. Darren Williams is gonna be awesome, man. Will Wade and NC State, I love. I could talk about them all day, man. But you talked about Darren Williams splits and scoring being a little bit lower. I think that's more the more thing for him with me is the eye test. Like just watching him you see what he's able to do on the floor. I really like what he does with his bigs. I like even as a like sneaky good ball handler and distributor. I really like him there. So I like Darren Williams. And then my one, I had Tabonsa. I have him as a small forward. I assume we're gonna have him as a power forward.
Hmm.
So AJ Tabonsa is gonna be really good. The top coming in freshman, him and Darren Peterson are the top freshmen coming in. So I really like AJ Debonta. He is absolutely balled out this preseason. So BYU is going to be real good, man. But I didn't really have any honorable mentions. I don't love this small forward group. So
Yeah. I said Stojakovic. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I'm not really sure um how the Illinois offense is gonna work, but he might be a high scoring guy. He did really well at Cal, but he's obviously gonna have a lot more scoring around him. So we'll see how he goes, I guess.
you're good for power
Yeah.
forwards.
Yeah. All right. So at five, I had Alex Condon, Florida. So I mean, he's probably, I mean, one of the more talented bigs you're gonna find. Um, he's another guy where it's like I was really surprised he only averaged 10 last year. He felt a lot more impactful offensively than that. I think he works really well with Chinyalu. I like that front court a lot, and I mean he's a good rebounder. He's gonna keep this team as like a really good rebounding team, like last year. He's a nice post player. I also think he's a better shooter than the numbers show. I don't really. I think that those numbers didn't look right almost. Like I think he'll be a pretty solid shooter. Four. This actually might be my hottest take, but I have Yax Lindeborg, from Michigan. Um, he's like really, really dominant, with UAB, but also like when you watch the games, he's like he looks so much bigger than everybody, and I don't think he's gonna have that size advantage as much, in the Big Ten. And also seeing like a little bit of a trend where games where he's playing like the bigger bigs, like I think he had down games on Rasheed Fleming, Dane Danger, Bent Lushton. So I mean that could have just been like random, but I think almost all his low games were against pretty good bigs, so maybe something to watch. Three I had the Bonsa. Um, yeah, I'm at the three. I mean that's how it played out, but
Yeah,
he's definitely one of the best. I mean he had upside of being my first pick for power forward. Um, it kind of just depends on how they play him. Probably he's the best two-way freshman in the country, probably. Um, I mean, like if they use him how they used him in the exhibition, he's definitely gonna be one of those top guys. But also, I mean, if they kind of split it up, they really disperse the touches to like Wright, Gennard Davis, Richie Saunders, and AJ, then it could get a little lower than you'd expect for stats. But he's still gonna be a great defender regardless. At two, I had TKR, Purdue.
hmm
Um, I think I really wanted to have him at one, but I just got a little bit scared off the exhibition game. Those the two big lineups with Jacobson and Clough. It didn't look the same. We'll see how they fix that, but none of them really shoot well. I think Jacobson's okay, but I don't know. I mean, he's still gonna be a good rebounder. He's still gonna be like great for his position. Like at the four, he's gonna have a bunch of mismatches with the other big. Like the two big lineups will do damage, but I don't know if he's really gonna play to his strengths as well with Clough and Jacobson on the court. And then I had Cam Boozer, Duke. I'm I think he's probably second best freshman here. I still have Peterson over him, for our later list, but I mean it felt crazy even having him as high. Like last year we had such a crazy freshman class, and then this year it's like arguably better. So we'll see what he does. He looks smaller than I thought he'd be, but I still think he's gonna be. I mean, he still played really well at the exhibition game anyway, so not really worried.
Yeah, our lists look identical. You just
Yeah.
slid in DeBonce at the three, and I got an extra guy at the five. But yeah, our lists are identical. So at my five, the guy that made it for me was Graham Ike,
Mm,
Gonzaga. He's been productive every year he's been there, but even back to Wyoming, he's super productive big. So he's going to be the main guy there, especially with Tyron Grant Foster. He has a ton of scoring expectations on him. No doubt in my mind, he's going to live up to those. And then on my four, I had Alex Condon, skilled big. I mean, you talked about it. I do like the shooting. I think he's going to have to space the floor even more this year, especially if Thomas Haw and Chinyelu. I mean, it's a ton of size, and I think that they're going to be good offensive and defensive rebounding, but Alex Condon's going to have a little bit more expectation to space the floor alongside Chinyelu. Thomas Hall will help with that, obviously, but and then at my three is I had Yaxel Lendenberg. I see what you're saying about the not necessarily fading him, but I like Yaxel Lendenberg. He showed he had 31 in that preseason game. I think it was against Cincinnati, right? He showed that he can score at this level. I mean, Axel Lindenberg, obviously the top transfer prospect. I really like what he's going to be this year. I like the size. I like the speed. So, and then at my two, I had TKR, similarly to you. I didn't necessarily hate what I saw in the exhibition. Braden Smith got him the ball a ton. I like to see that. The spacing thing, like you said, is going to have to be figured out. I'm not sure what that means for Clough and Jacobson, whether or for TKR even, but Matt Painter's got to figure that out because TKR has so much scoring potential. He's just once he gets the ball down there, it's over for his defender. Like he is such a skilled just post scorer. So I like TKR a ton. And then my one, I also had Cam Boozer. He had a 20 and 20 game this preseason. I mean, he's been killing it. Duke's going to be really good this year with all that talent, all the freshman talent. Isaiah Evans, everybody there is going to be awesome. I really like Duke. They're growing on me, especially with Cam Boozer growing as a scorer and really good defender. Yeah, Cam Boozer's legit. And then a couple of my honorable mentions. I said Tugler. I'm not sure Joseph Tugler if he's a four or a five. It's unsure with CNAC there. But I said him. I said him. Caleb Wilson, the freshman from North Carolina, I'm pretty high on. And then also Joshua Jefferson, Iowa State guy. Really like him too. So, do you
yeah.
have any honorable mentions?
Um, you named both of mine. I had Tugler's honorable mention for the five, but
Okay.
um, I also had Caleb Wilson for the four. He looked pretty good in the exhibition games. I'm not really. He's kind of like a low ceiling guy almost for UNC. He's not gonna be as like a boomer bust though. I guess is like a comment. But I like him. All right. So for my center position at five, I had Quintance, Jaden Quintance from Kentucky. Um, it sucks. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to miss a decent amount of time, but he'll at least be back for conference play. He's awesome at ASU. I think he's gonna be one of the best defenders in the country. I thought he was pretty underrated there, honestly. I mean, it's just because ASU didn't have a lot of eyes on him, but he looked really good. So, um, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they use him. It'll be interesting to see how he does with like brighter light on him. Four, I had Graham Ike. So you had him at power forward, so I had him at five. But I mean, either way, he's really good. Um, I mean, he's almost as productive as you're gonna find for a big. Um, he's also, I mean, I don't know. I don't know many bigs who can shoot 80% from the free throw line for how many free throws he takes as well. So I really like that about him. And when he's not getting fouled, he's like such a good bully ball post guy. He's really strong, overpowers like almost any defender you're gonna find in the West Coast Conference. So he's always been really dominant. 60% from the field last year as well, 17 points per game. So he's
Yeah,
pretty
he's
crazy.
sick.
Yeah. At three, I had Nate Biddle. Morgan. Um, he's one of my favorite players in the Big Ten last year. Elite defender. He's a little slim, but it doesn't matter. He's still awesome defender. 2 blocks a game. Um, he doesn't get moved. It doesn't matter that he's like a slender frame. But he's just like a weird player to watch, honestly. Like he's really quick for his build, like his size, and then he's also the jumper is kind of like I'm surprised it goes in when it does, but like he's a pretty solid
It's
shooter.
there. The jumper's
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
the jumper's pretty nice. So I mean he does like literally almost everything. I'd say he's a pretty solid passer too. Um, so yeah, it's kind of crazy. Um, they're really lucky they got him back this year. So at two, I had Zuby Ejiofor, St. John's. Probably one of my favorite players last year. One of the best bigs in the country. I get into the free throw line, and he shot well from there. 6 attempts a game. He's also one of I think he's the best offensive rebounder last year. 4.5 offensive rebounds a game. Led the country. Um, I mean, a lot of it's just hustle. Like he gets a bunch of second chance points, and I get some free throws. I don't know. He's just a really fun player, super powerful, but he's also pretty quick for his stature. He's a pretty thick player. So also block and a half in a steal game too. So pretty better than I'd expected. And that one I had JT Toppin, Texas Tech. We debated whether or not he'd be a 4 or 5, but I mean, yeah, I mean five's not as good as 4, so it's easier to have him here. Um, he's I don't know. It's kind of crazy that he works as well as he does for his frame. He doesn't look that big. He's like 6'9", 230, but he's a really good athlete. He'll be one of the best players in the country. He doesn't even really have like crazy range or anything. I don't know how he's so good, but he's like dominant low post. He's really quick. Um, yeah, so he's really good.
Yeah, our center lists look super similar. I obviously didn't have Graham EK, but I slid this guy into my five. I had Tomislav Ivic. I think he's really good shooter. Obviously, he was a good role player last year. I don't expect too much more out of him, but I think just that. I think he's going to up his efficiencies a little bit more. Already were pretty good, so I really like Tomislav Ivic in a questionable Illinois team that who really knows what's going on there. He's definitely going to be somebody who you know what he's going to give you. So. At my four, I had Jaden Quintance. Like you said, I mean, we're not sure when he's going to come back, but this is more looking forward into the majority of the season and come like conference play, come the tournaments, like conference tournament and NCAA tournament. He's going to be an important piece offensively and defensively. So Jaden Quintance, just for his role and what he showed last year. And I mean, I'm not sure this is going to be his last year in college basketball. Who knows about that? But at my three, I had Nate Biddle. I wish I could put him higher. I tried to justify any way I could to put him higher. I love Nate Biddle. I love his defense. I love his two-way potential. I like his. I mean, every single time I see Nate Biddle, I just think about like a little Jackson Shelstad kick out three to Nate Biddle at the top of the key, and I think he's going to have that shot so much this year, and he's great in the post. He has great touch. I mean, I love Nate Biddle, but better than him at my two, I had Zuby Ejiofor, great size, super athletic. I mean, I love Zuby Ejiofor. He's going to be playing a ton of minutes too. I think he's going to have a ton of minutes on his hands. So the number is going to be there. And then on my one, JT Toppin, this wasn't close. I think JT Toppin is by far the best big in college basketball, the best 4 or 5, whatever position you think he's going to be. JT Toppin is the man. A couple honorable mentions. I had Robbie Avila. We're not going to talk about him too much or St. Louis too much more. So I just wanted to get his name out there. He's gonna be a legit big. And then Tardis Reed from UConn, just another athletic guy, good frame, important big for them. So
Yeah, I just had Tugler. But we already covered
yeah,
him, so. one of the better defenders in the country. Good team.
Reigning Defensive Player of the Year. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, and then just super quickly, we're going to go through our five freshmen. You can go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we already touched on all of them for me, but I
Yeah,
had
yeah. We'll go through these
Caleb
quick.
Wilson at the five. At four, I had Nate Ament, Tennessee. At three, I had AJ DeBonsa, two Cam Boozer, and one Darren Peterson. Any
Yeah,
differences?
one difference, Nate Ament slid out of mine for the likes of Michael Brown.
Mm,
I like I liked Michael Brown a ton this year. What he showed in the U19, and then just some placing differences. I had Boozer at my three, Peterson at my two, Devonta at my one.
mm,
So, but besides that, I mean, we've got all the same idea. Obviously, there's the big three that's kind of separated, and then I had Michael
yeah,
Brown kind of switched in for Nate Ament, but we got the same idea. Really good freshman class. So.
yeah,
But I think that is it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it should be.
Thursday we're gonna have some award predictions, and then we're gonna start talking about the games of the week coming up.
Yeah,
I'm so excited for that, man.
mm,
It's gonna be awesome.
yeah,
Until then, have a good weekend, or have a good weekend. Have a good
hmm,
Tuesday, Wednesday. Man, didn't get enough sleep last night.
yeah, for sure.
But I think we're good to get out of here. Oh,
Yeah,
actually, I did have one other freshman I want to talk about. Just to throw in that list. Darius Acuff. I think he's
yeah,
going to be a top freshman,
okay,
especially what he's shown this preseason. So I'm excited for him. Really excited for Arkansas. John Calipari's got something good cooking over there.
yeah. Malik Thomas.
Oh yeah,
He's been a fun watch.
yeah, yes. That jumper. Oof, I don't know. Jumper's been. Seen some. I've seen some. I've seen some nice ones. I've seen some interesting shots, but.
Hmm. He's a nice one.
And until then, I think we're out of here.
Yeah. All right.
Peace.
See ya.